Hey class, this is Mr. Clark, your teacher, and this is a video that I've created entitled Then and Now Discussion Board Activity. Next slide. As you well know, we live in a complex and ever-changing world. Next slide. I believe studying the past helps us to make sense of our present time. We live in such a, like I said, ever-changing, complex world. It didn't just appear yesterday or the day before. What makes our world and us what we are today is an accumulation of literally thousands of years of human development. Next slide. The then and now discussion board activities are meant to show parallels between the past and present. It's often said that history repeats itself. I think to some extent that there's some truth in that statement, but certainly people in the past have encountered or experienced or gone through similar trials and events that we experience today. Next slide. The discussion board activities that we're doing in this class focus on students watching videos about a topic from both the perspective of the past and present. So as part of this assignment, you'll be watching videos about historical things and about current events. Next slide. After watching the videos, students are to write a post in response to a writing prompt that I'll give you. This response is to include specific references to each of the videos that are shown. So depending on how many videos are in the assignment, your task is to watch the videos and make specific references to the videos that you're required to watch to show that you've in fact watched them. Next slide. Your original post is to be a minimum of 6 sentences. I don't know exactly why I chose 6, but I think 6 is a good number. And yes, I will be counting sentences, but hopefully you'll get into the topics and you'll be able to do the 6 or more quite easily. Next slide. After posting your original response to the videos, you will be able to read the responses of your classmates. So this is where the interactive part of the assignment begins. You post yours and then you read the responses of your classmates. The more you can read, the better. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. Next slide. Choose 3 student posts to respond to. Your response to their post should be thoughtful comments to their views on the selected topics. So your task is to say if you agree with their interpretation, if you disagree, if you want to add to it. I'm going to leave that kind of up to you, but it's as if you're having a dialogue with that other student and and you interact, basically. Next slide. Each of your 3 responses to your fellow classmates, each of those posts is to be at least 4 sentences in length. So again, yes, I will be counting sentences, and 4 is the minimum. Next slide. When you're responding to other students, statements like "good job" and "I totally agree" are kind, but they don't count as part of your 4-sentence minimum. I'm not telling you can't say those things. You certainly can, but those aren't part of what I'm looking for in terms of the 4-sentence responses. So again, if you want to say things like that, or "I agree," "I disagree," that's fine, and then I'll start counting your sentences. Next slide. The topics addressed in discussion board activities form the basis for essay questions that will be asked on the 4 unit exams. There will be 2 essay questions for each of the 4 unit exams that we'll have in the class. And the topics of these then and now discussion board will give you some hints into what kind the topics that will be asked on those 2 questions per unit. And a unit is basically every 3 chapters of the online textbook. Next slide. So there is a purpose that we're doing these discussion boards for. We're kind of preparing for the essay parts of your test. Next slide. Full participation in discussion board activities are vital to an online course. Next slide. Your grade for each discussion board assignment will be based on your level of participation and insight. Next slide. Each discussion board assignment is worth 5 points. A score of 5 out of 5 on an assignment means that you have fully met the requirements that are in the instructions. And some of those requirements would be the length of your original post, the length of your responses to your classmates, and the insight that you use. Next slide. Failure to fully participate in discussion board activities will result in your being dropped from the class as per the syllabus. So these are very important in terms of this class. Next slide. Late discussion board posts are not accepted as per the syllabus. Next slide. The college uses participation in discussion boards as evidence of a student's attendance in the class. So again, beyond my expectations for you, the college in an online class sees discussion board participation as evidence that you are in the class. Next slide. I hope you have a better understanding of the expectations for the then and now discussion board activities that we'll be doing in this class. Next slide. I look forward to reading your insightful posts and responses to various historical topics. If you have any questions about the discussion boards or anything else, please contact me electronically. And I'm wishing you sincere good luck. Talk to you later.